Good morning, Sonic. Welcome to the stream. So excited to have you all here joining us today. It's been an exciting week, hasn't it? It's been crazy, dude. I could feel it cooming in the air tonight. We're just trying to goon on, you know? Uh Hello, funeral. I mean, it's been freaking what is that called? It's been whiplash. Back nonstop, dude. Tariffs, nuclear war. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm just trying to protect my nest egg. I hope you guys are out there safe and sound. But you know, let's take let's take a little look at the chart to see how alive we are. That's right, Fall Zone. I'm looking professional because I gotta be putting out my resumes. You know, we're entering a recession, so you gotta be looking sharp. You gotta clean it up a little bit. Actually, can someone tell me if this is working? I spent hours last night trying to set up this soundboard. Tell me if this works. Does that work? Can you hear that? Fall Zone, let me know if you can hear that. Hello, Luis. How are you doing today?
Yo, were you playing some topic right now?
Am I what?
Were you playing some music?
Yeah, could you hear that?
I thought I came in. I don't know what song it was though.
This? Can you hear that?
Oh, I can hear a little bit. A little bit. It's not crispy.
I don't know what's going on here. I downloaded this app. Look, we'll deal with it later, but I got this stream deck here, so I actually have a soundboard and I'm dying to use it. But for some reason the sound's not coming through very loud.
Damn, bro. They don't want you winning, man. Tired of winning.
Right? I have some all-star sound effects for you guys to take this show to the next level here. Okay? We're gonna figure it out.
Yo, I just want to say, I'm sorry, bro. I keep cutting you off, but you look spiffy today, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, you know, I got like 10 interviews lined up because, you know, session. I got this is for my McDonald's interview.
I was gonna say McDonald's still requires suits, bro.
Yeah. When you're aiming for the position I'm going for, burger inspector. You know, you got to look clean.
That's awesome, man. Good luck.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm gonna need it. There's a lot of competition out there nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, how are you been doing, Luis? The market seemed to kind of like leveled off after the tariff thing, right?
Yeah, man. I'm doing good, dude. Honestly, bro. I'm lucky. Like, I'm busy enough to where I could see the markets. I'm exposed, obviously, but I'm just glad I'm not overexposed, if that makes sense, because I'm just too busy, bro. I wish I could be playing around more on doing different things. But you know what, though, dude? It's quite interesting how the sentiment switches, man. I remember, so we saw that Trump tweet, right? Like, right now is a good time to buy. Everyone was like,
Oh, yeah.
yo, this guy's tweeting like a NFT founder in 2021, right?
Yeah.
And then announces the 90-day pause on tariffs, and all of a sudden everyone's bullish, bro. Everything starts sending, right?
Yeah. If I remember, this was like an hour apart, I think. Like,
yeah. It was just interesting to see. Literally, bro, my feed was like from like super bearish to super bullish, like everything, like like quick. So it's just quite interesting, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not the macro guy here, but it's just quite interesting how fast the sentiment changes, especially when you're talking about the most powerful leader here.
yeah. Also brings up a good point. It's kind of interesting how your derp and I look kind of alike right now. We're matching.
Dude, you know what?
Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point, Louise. It is. Look, you and I, we're not PhDs in economics, right?
Yeah.
But we can say that, it is interesting how, I guess, reactive, reflexive the markets have been to these kinds of announcements. It is like paralleling kind of all the criticisms we've had for crypto markets for a while, where just like one tweet can send the market into chaos or whatever. We got Donald Trump. What is he like? Our the U.S. is a meme coin, and he's the founder.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. The only thing I could say here, man, from like a user perspective, retail perspective, is I tweeted yesterday, like we need to take a little bit more accountability. Is if you're too overexposed, man, like assess your strategy, right? It's really weird right now. Whether there was a little, bullish sentiment yesterday, markets kind of stabilized today. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 90 days. We don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year. All I can say is just assess your strategy. Be okay with the money that you're exposed with. No one's putting a gun to your head to say you should buy this, you should buy that. Walk, just have some conviction, but also be a little bit more pragmatic. You know what I mean? That's all I can say right now. The markets are going to do what the markets do. I control my money. I don't control yours. Just be careful. But yeah, position accordingly, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough advice to give,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not really like like the other shows you'll see on YouTube, buy now, don't buy now. Like I'm not gonna tell you exactly what to do. I don't think Louise wants to tell you exactly what to do either. But it's also because it's almost impossible to make a really good call because we can look at TA, we can look at macro conditions. There were a lot of worrying signs populating the feed. I'm sure if you're on X, on Financial X at all, you were seeing things about the dollar falling, bond rates rising, all kinds of crazy, scary economic indicators showing that we're hitting inflation, stagflation, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
But the worst part about all of this, in my opinion, is that it is completely volatile and based almost exclusively off of what is Trump going to say next
Yeah.
about the tariffs. We're completely at his mercy. So it's really hard to provide any kind of guidance when it's literally just sit and watch, I guess. I mean, any bet you're going to take right now is going to be very risky, basically.
Very risky. That's a good point. Just because, yeah, like going back, this guy, he's the most powerful leader, right? He could control markets, which is very, very visible in the last couple of days. So, I mean, yeah, just be wary, man. I think, yeah, it's really hard to make an analysis right now, but we'll see. I mean, we're hoping for the best.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's just my understanding right now, it just looks like, China is the main target here, right? Again, I
Yeah.
don't know too much about the macro stuff, but it's just clear that this whole thing going on was just to get China back on the table. Let's work a deal out, And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think President Xi said something about I'm willing to get to the table, but I'm going to fight. We're going to fight till the end, right? So I don't know. You got two of the most powerful leaders dealing these negotiations, man. There's a lot of ego, uh, and they both love their countries, which is good. So we'll see what happens.
Let me show you this here. It does seem to be all about China right now. We seem to have forgotten all about Russia. This is a very funny image of Putin as a monkey looking at the chessboard, but it's because he said this: "When tigers fight, the wise monkey sits and observes on the China-U.S. trade war." And it's a funny ass saying, but it rings true in that we have the two largest economies in the world literally battling for essentially control over the flow of resources for every other country. So it's going to be unstable. This trade war is not over, right? It's just getting started.
Yeah.
It is funny to watch the Chinese U.S. embassy subtweeting the U.S. and vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see those like AI videos supposedly coming out? Like how the factories would look at making Nike shoes? I don't know. I saw a video
Yeah.
yesterday. That was pretty funny, man.
It was funny. It was like a big fat guy. I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about this. I saw this AI video here. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen this one.
Louise,
What
they're
is
going to put us out of a job. The AI are going to put us out of a job
Oh,
here because they can make amazing advertisements like this.
so crazy, man.
What do you think this is for, this advertisement?
I can't even tell. Is that Travis Scott and what's his name?
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Timothy. What is this? Creative? I have no idea, bro. What
We
would
might
this be
get
for?
the stream might get shut down on YouTube for what's about to happen here, though. Pay attention here.
Oh my
Jesus Christ.
God, bro. My
Yeah,
God.
that's a Tinder ad, dude. What?
This is all because
What
of
about
Kylie.
not a single thing about that makes me horny. Makes me want to download Twitter.
Shit.
So I don't think any advertisers' jobs are at risk here. But no, yeah, the AI videos, they're getting out of control, and it's going to be quite interesting as we continue into this era of conflict here, because we are seeing a lot of Chinese making AI videos, the big fat Americans making shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We'll see. It's quite interesting, right? With the AI stuff, obviously, luckily we could still tell what's, I guess, somewhat we could still tell what's AI and what's not. But
mhm.
I don't know, man. Maybe in the next couple of years, bro, this fake news stuff, this misinformation gets out of hand. Who knows?
I think we're getting there. I really do think
Yeah.
we're getting there. A lot of people are kind of, Louis, a lot of people are kind of dumb too, dude. A lot of
Yeah,
older people, they don't understand the internet. They don't look too closely at these things.
you're
There are
right.
a lot of people thinking that there were nuclear reactors under the pyramids the other day because there was some AI generated content. But
You're right. I forget about that, man.
yeah, we got to remember our fellow citizens who are, not distracted.
Absolutely, dude. We're not clicking the buttons, man. They're just watching stuff.
But real quick, just for tradition, since we don't have Dracula here, I'll do my best to do a little analysis on the charts here.
Yeah, please,
I don't
man.
know if this is a cup and handle. It looks like a cup to me. So and this is kind of like my feelings on the market in general. It seems to me like everything is actually kind of bullish. Everything seems like it wants to trend upwards, especially after the brutal hammering things have been taking for the last month. Um, but unfortunately, we're just too unstable to really commit to any direction. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like if we look at even Ethereum, which is notably underperforming horribly. If we were like to zoom out, if we were to look at ETH BTC, look how awful it looks, dude.
That one hurts, dude. That one hurts because that was what got me in deeper,
Mhm.
right? Back in the day. It just hurts, man. But
It really does. Selling my ETH bag was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and not just because it was down 40%. It's because one of the key parts of my I guess thesis on crypto was that, ETH is the world computer, dude. It's the global settlement layer, bro.
yeah,
It's like it's the future, dude.
yeah.
But unfortunately, what do you think, Luis? Do you think the L2s are what killed ETH?
You know what, man? I think it had part of it was that.
Mm,
I think as of late too. I mean, I saw a tweet recently. Someone said I think Ethereum lost the focus a little bit in terms of, like you said, the world computer. People settle here.
mm,
I don't know. It's arguable with Vitalik's actions as well. This goes back to the leadership, right? We look at Vitalik, right? We think Vitalik, we think Ethereum. If he tweets something bullish, I'm sure Ethereum goes up or something very, I guess, advanced, if you will. And I think as of late too, Vitalik, if you see some of the stuff that's going around, is people are losing that, I don't know, confidence, if you will.
mm.
So I think a lot has to play with the L2s for sure. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know, but people are also just seeing where they could allocate some other their capital, man, and obviously hedge. But I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I think ETH had like a strong first mover advantage, but kind of failed to adapt to all the competition. I think the L2s were kind of like an approach to that, but they failed to kind of really control for value accrual. I mean, I could be completely wrong. There's a lot smarter people on Ethereum, but this is how I saw it from kind of my on the ground level, right?
Right.
If you wanted to make money for a long time, the only people that could make money on ETH for a good long while were people that had made a fuckload of money already on
Yep.
ETH, right?
Yeah.
So if you know, I got friends who just out of college, they want to launch a crypto project. What we got to raise like $300,000 to launch a
Yeah.
smart contract on Ethereum, or we could go to an alt chain and make six figures in 6 months, and
Yeah.
our cost to launch was like 5 grand or
Minimal.
10 grand or something.
Minimal. Yeah.
So it failed to kind of capture that new talent coming in. I think there's without a doubt a lot of value still in the Ethereum system, like a lot, tons, but I don't know if it can still grow. I also think similarly, like what you're saying, like Vitalik, Vitalik doesn't lead the Ethereum Foundation anymore, right? Like he's like hands
No.
off. He's like a
Exactly.
weird, like he's like the king of England. Like I guess to say means something to people, but like he doesn't actually control anything.
Exactly. It's like those background people, right? Like at the end of the day, like whether you created something or not, you like think of Bezos. Bezos isn't necessarily the CEO of Amazon anymore, right? He's like
Mm,
chairman or whatever. But whenever you see Bezos, you think Amazon. So it's like
yeah,
whatever Vitalik does, whether he's CEO or not CEO, but leader in this case, like it's gonna reflect on what people think about Ethereum, right?
yeah.
So I think still plays a big role. And look, man, my copium here is that there is some sort of comeback. I just don't know what's gonna catapult it.
Mm,
So I just don't know when. I don't know if this is going to happen this year, but I don't think Ethereum. A lot of people say Ethereum's slowly dying, but I don't know, man. I still hold some myself, so I guess that's my copium here. But I do think something will catapult it. I hope so. I hope so. But then
yeah,
again, we got alternatives, and as we see here, Fallout Zone Sonic is a DeFi chain now. We don't need ETH. I mean,
yeah.
he said it, man. He said it.
He's right, dude. And I mean, to your point, to be fair, I think everyone owns a little bit of ETH because you got to transact with ETH at least a
Yeah.
little bit from time to time. But we got another special guest here in the studio. Should I bring him up? Let's bring up Sam.
Oh, oh,
Hello,
Sam.
Sam. How are you doing today?
Hey,
Yeah.
You had me stuck in the back there.
Yeah, dude. I had you in the green room. I don't think we've ever talked before, Sam. Nice to meet you in person, face to face.
Likewise, yeah, it's good to finally connect here on GM Sonic. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's sorry I was a bit late. I was just coming from another call, but yeah, it's
No,
cool. What are
dude.
you guys chatting about?
We were just chatting about Ethereum right now. I was gonna pivot to Sonic, but you guys, I don't know if you guys can talk about Sonic prices or anything like this, can you? Since you
I'd
guys are
probably
in
prefer
the
not to, but the price is so influenced by macro. Everyone knows, if Trump starts talking or if tariffs start going, there's nothing really we can do on the fundamental side of Sonic to prevent what traders do on the S token. So I think a big focus of the whole team is just what can we do to fundamentally increase what matters to us as an L1, and that is the success of our applications. It's moving towards a more revenue focused viewpoint. We're trying to get out of this hype cycle that our whole industry seems to be going through, and come back to what I think is like we can come back to focusing on what matters for us. So whether Trump has an agreement with China or whether he doesn't, regardless, we're not going to focus on that because that's too time consuming. What we focus on is just helping the network grow, helping fee monetization evolve, and making sure that we can continue to climb the ranks of TVL transactions and applications deployed. And that's what matters to us. So regardless of what happens on the macro side, we'll just keep one step in front of the other and just keep doing keep at this every day, basically.
Right on, dude. That's your eagle gunshots for that. That's awesome. Because the key thing that jumped out at me, what you were saying, Sam, is because the shift in, I guess, crypto sentiment, at least as I'm seeing it, reading it on social media, is this shift more towards like value, right? As opposed to speculation. Like, what is the actual value that is being generated by the products, by the ecosystem, by the chain, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I would say, should have been a no-brainer from the beginning. But I mean, at least most of my adult life, it seems like our economy has been operating in this weird vaporous. Tesla could put a fucking rocket on Mars, so we should bid it up to be worth more than every single other car company combined, even though they sell like 2% of the cars or whatever. So we're kind of, and maybe we do owe this to Trump in this crazy like volatility he's provided. People are trying to fly to true value, but so they're sussing it out right now. And I think that's where Sonic really excels because, as we've said, full on DeFi ecosystem, it's faster, it's easier to use. I've tried using, I don't want to point out any specific competitors, but I've tried using them.
Call them out. I'm just kidding.
Usually kind of slow, awkward to get to. Usually I have to go through Ethereum to get there, and I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So,
well, the other good thing of that is we've got quite a long time horizon for what we want to achieve, and I believe a lot of specifically L1s and L2s, they're so reliant on the hype cycle that as things get shaky as they are in global markets, they struggle to sort of keep up, and eventually they fade out, and what's left are the true teams that are trying to build for the industry. And that's I think where we can shine, because it doesn't really matter what's going to happen on these charts for us. Like, we can still build when we will continue to keep building. And that's sort of where we can get it can become an advantage for us. We hope that everything can be solved on that side, and it can make it easier for applications, because obviously they care about bootstrapping their own models, they care about bootstrapping their own token adoption sometimes. But what we truly can like focus on is just not worrying about those macro markets and just focusing on application adoption, which we've actually been we've had a lot more. I can say this: we've had a lot more adoption than we initially predicted, because we're coming into 2025. The network's it's just over 3 months old. We saw so there's just so much competition compared to when we first launched Fantom, that it's a much harder decision for an application to make on which network they should join, because there's just so many options. They're everywhere. I think I don't even know how many. There's more L1s and L2s launching than there are applications, and I think we're at sort of like we're at that moment where hopefully we start to see that switch, especially with VM, because when you think about it, why are a lot of these teams looking to launch their own L1, L2? They just want the transaction fees that are coming from the network activity, so that they can have a higher valuation, they can increase their earnings. For us, we actually make a very, I think, good offer for applications. We say, hey, look, rather than trying to branch out and fragment all the liquidity that you have and get all your users to go to your own L2, just to get these transaction fees, why don't you stay building with your partners that you build here on Sonic? You get 90% of all the transaction fees. And for that 10% that you give back to the chain, we're going to cover all of the infrastructure that's needed for the network. So whether that's our partnerships with Safe, whether it's with Alchemy, Chainlink, Pith, all of these really great infrastructure teams, you can keep very close contact with them. And you can also get all the upside of having your own L1. And I think that means that now applications look at that and go, well, why would I launch my own L2? It's not going to be economically viable because the costs to get these infrastructure partners are not cheap. I don't want to say they're like overpriced, but they are very expensive. So there's a lot to spend on like infrastructure rather than spending that on, say, like user acquisition for your DEX or whatever type of DeFi application you have, which is to me, it would be a big waste. And I think that's why we keep seeing a lot of just L1s and L2s come and go. We have like these fads that come in and go away, which is just like, oh, there's a new L1, there's a new L2, and then 6 months to 12 months later, they leave. And what we want to see, I think, me personally as a user, and probably you guys as well, is rather than seeing a new L1, L2 launch every week, we start seeing applications just continually launch and starting to get traction. I think that's when the entire world would then take this industry more seriously, when they're seeing these applications continually get successful. And that's because we've pivoted from just focusing on just the infrastructure side and more on the consumer application side. And that is what we are enabling, in my opinion. So hopefully we can sort of see like the momentum start to change from just L1s, L2s launching every week. I think we're probably at the maximum side of that, and starting to see the pendulum swing back the other way and just start to see applications launch. And we are seeing that on Sonic a lot. So we're seeing some fairly successful launches, some successful raises. We are working, we're doing a lot of due diligence right now on different launch pads, different incubators, because one thing is we have so many inbounds coming, and our team is fairly small. We want to make sure that we can give them all the sort of like support they need. And so finding the right partners to help a lot of those, like, call it earlier stage inbounds, is super important. Generally, like, if someone doesn't have at least like a staging link and it's just an idea, we struggle to give them the amount of support that they do need right now. And so we wanted to sort of extend that out to, if you have an idea, you just have a team and you're building that out and you need more support, we're going to make sure that we can kind of give you that support with hopefully some help from another partner. But yeah, we are scaling out that. So just I've kind of gone on a tangent there. But effectively what I'm trying to say here is we're just seeing such an amount of growth on Sonic, and even in these terrible macro conditions, it's just really fun to be working here. Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there because, like you're saying, I feel like for a while the only thing the networks would do to kind of facilitate. I think Louise has got to go. Everyone say goodbye, Louise. Thank you for showing up. But no, I think for a while, a lot of times what networks were doing were exclusively just providing financial incentives to kind of try and jumpstart their ecosystem. But it's a little bit more complicated than that, right? You have to provide a lot of additional support. That infrastructure support is massive, right? Yeah. Like, I have a lot of incentives, but my Oracle is like really terrible. No one's going to want to use my app, right? I'm at a huge risk or whatever.
Safe alone is just, if you don't have like Safe, it's a big hindrance for users. I mean, everyone wants access to like a good multi-sig front end, and having the official Safe deployment is a massive thing for us. We never had that on Fantom, and it was definitely a massive complaint we had all the time. Like, hey, I want the official Safe, and that's something that we do have now. So we can sort of see the comparison there. I mean, it's really interesting coming from Fantom to Sonic. I'm seeing that like we've learned a lot of the, I guess, mistakes that we've made on Fantom, and we've said, hey, look, this is where we got a lot of complaints from users. Let's make sure that this is fixed for Sonic. And we've sort of done that. And so everything that you've seen We've now finally got native stablecoin coming from Circle, and that's a major thing that we've always wanted, and that users have always wanted on Fantom, and it's super exciting to finally have that coming up as well. And that's another great infrastructure partner.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to point out FEM as well, because Louis had this in the notes. It's good stuff. 646,000 S already awarded or generated through FEM, which I think is huge. Like you're saying, if you're a small team starting out, that's a huge help, dude. Cut your overhead significantly, and really, it is making Sonic really the place to be. I would consider this almost like a subsidy. I'm not even sharing it, but here, this is my source.
I actually do not like. I'm going to cut you off there. Like, I hate the word subsidy. I mean, it can be if you're spending the gas yourself. I know some platforms that you do have like an AA solution, and then with that solution they cover all the gas for the users, and so they'll make money, I guess, as sort of like a subsidy there. But I really see it as a revenue model, like a revenue share model with the chain, rather than just like a subsidy, because a lot of like Web3 applications, the user is just paying that money into the network, and you see none of it. I love using the Uniswap example. Uniswap router V2, V3 contracts use something like 100, 200 million US dollars worth of ETH every year. And so no wonder they're trying to scale out into their own L2 and capture that value. Although I think what you're seeing now is a little bit of that pushback against people launching their own L2s, and people still, a lot of the volumes are still, on ETH and these other chains, because that's where all the other activities happening. But I think when there's that amount of money that's on the table and you as an application can't get a hold of it, that's just like such an obvious move for, I think, any L1 or L2 to even make, is just like share that with your developers, because they're who matter the most. So that's amazing. Yeah, 646. I think I looked at that just not that long ago. It was at 600,000. So it's cool to see that rolling in. The biggest hindrance that we have right now is the sign up process. So like, when you want to sign up, it's still a manual registration for the project. And we're working on this right now to have it just an automatic registration of the project. So you could come up, you just find out about FEM, you register your project, instant approval, and then you'll be able to register your applications, instant approval, using the self-registration model that we have. And that should make it so that if you find out a bit about FEM, within under 60 seconds, you can start earning the fees from the contracts, which is what we really need if we want mass adoption on this. Is just very easy adoption for like anyone to find out about it and be able to start earning within a minute. And that's our objective. It should come out soon. I don't want to give a date, but that next module for the self registration should be out any moment. Right now, it basically is a manual process, and you have to have someone from the team look at it, approval. It's not a very clean process. It takes too long. And when it comes to money, no one likes to wait to start getting paid, right? Like everyone wants to start getting paid instantly. So if we can start them getting paid, within 60 seconds of finding out about FEM, that would be, I think, a real leverage that we can use. And I think once we do deploy that, we can see, active apps almost double, triple, because we can start pushing more resources into teaching more people about this, getting more people to sign up to it. We have some traditional marketing campaigns that we're building out right now for this. And then so once that is launched, it'll be, in my opinion, just start to really boost. We have like KPIs around this. We want to see, more than 2 million S earned through these top applications. We want to see one of these applications at least hit something like, half a million themselves. And I think that's, Sacra's leading. Sacra's a great story. Like they are, I'd say, a small sized game. And yet they can still bring in this record amounts of fees, which is really cool. I played Sacra a little bit. I do find it fun. And it's just cool to see them earn all this money. So if they were on any other network, they would be 145,000 S short of what they should be owed.
So would you say that FEM kind of enables things that maybe would not even be economically feasible on other chains then? So you really are kind of opening up it's not just I'm more profitable if I'm launching on Sonic, right? It's like I can do things that I would literally not have been able to do, including like this kind of gaming stuff. It's awesome. I think this is huge, dude.
Well, it's also I can keep rambling about like things I'm seeing as well, just to give people a bit of an insight. Another really cool thing is I'm not sure whether it's VM is an important part of the network, but it's not something that we can rely on like on itself. And I think one thing that has been really encouraging to see, and I won't name names, but there's been a few applications that have deployed, and the amount of success they had was surprising to them. They were all like, "Hey, we deployed on Sonic, and all of a sudden, like our TVL numbers are shooting through the roof," and they're like baffled, and they go, "Like, why is this happening? What's going on?" And then all of the other developers on the network are supporting them, and you're sort of seeing this really cool community, developer first approach, and it's been so successful that some VCs from these applications have reached out and said, "Hey, we wanted to chat with you because." Our application that we invested in, they've been deploying on a few networks, and when they deployed on Sonic, everything started going really well for them, and now they're killing it. And they go, "What are you guys doing?" And it's sort of like a combination of a few things, in my opinion. One, it's great technology that Bernard's built over the last 3-4 years, and so leveraging that I think is super important because. The tech side is something no one likes to think about until it really matters. When you have a really big day and everyone wants to get transactions through, that's when it really matters. But on a slow day, it's less. People don't notice it as much, but nevertheless, technology stack, it's amazing. Two is sort of like the developer community and the developer first approach that we have. I think Andre pushes this really well because he is an amazing developer and he's always telling us like, "Hey, look, make sure you do it like this because I know if I was in that developer's shoes, I would want to see it this way." And so that's helped a lot with VM. And then the other side is just our team has grown so much since the Phantom days. We have our DeFi team is just incredible. I think they're one of the best in the industry right now. You've had the assistant on here before. He's an incredible driver of growth. I'm not sure if you've had Johan on here yet, but he's
not had Johan yet.
We got to get him on. But he's an amazing sort of like strategist, and he's helped us out a lot. A lot of the airdrop designs were created by him, and I think without him we would have struggled a lot. And then I think that's also seen like with the sort of designs that have come across, whether it's Rings.money or whether it's Shadow or any of these other sort of leading applications, Salo, Aave. We now have the environment on our network, close to 1 billion TVL, where even Circle have been like, "Hey, this is actually incredible growth that we've seen on USDC." And to add to that, it's bridged USDC. So it's actually harder to grow your USDC in circulation when it's like this bridge standard because you have to get it plugged in everywhere. It's a little less, it's harder to get across chains because it's not native. And it's harder to go through sexes, so you can't just send it in and out of Binance or whatever exchange that you're using. And so there's all these barriers that we had for USDC growth on Sonic. But now we've already climbed up to I think like the top 10 in issuance, and even they were saying like, "Wow, that's incredible growth." And so now we want to do similar things with other assets that are needed for the chain. We're kind of looking at EuroC right now. Potentially, there's more stuff that we can do there, and basically just making anything that happens on Sonic successful. And we're just seeing that time and time again. And that's really encouraging to see. Yeah.
Yeah. EuroC is something that I've been kind of interested in that, not that I'm European. Look, I'm an American. I've always discounted the euro. Okay.
Hell yeah.
But I was on Shadow Dex and I was looking and I was thinking, because the market's so scary right now, let me pull this back up because I have we're not going to talk about the price, but I want to tell you a story.
Well, we can talk about. I mean, we can easily talk about like USD versus euro. Like that's fine.
I just want to say this. This is a humiliating anecdote for me, Sam. I had an excellent LP position on Shadow, and like right after the tariffs were pulled back, and I was like, "This is going to be freaking money, dude." But I was also like, I don't know if we'll be able to range for a while because it's so chaotic. So I closed my LP out like right here. I could have made all this, dude. I could have captured all this volatility, dude. I'm so embarrassed, dude. But I was looking at Euro and EuroC and USDC because I was like, that's going to be fairly stable, right? Like the euro and the dollar, they're not going to fluctuate like incredibly so. But the size of the EuroC market is kind of small, isn't it? Like just overall,
not big at all. I think for us on Sonic, maybe 250,000 around there. And then the market as a whole, I think it's around 250 million. So not big. I mean, compared to USD, it's tiny, but that's what's I think it's important is that just because it's not big now doesn't mean it's not going to be big later. And it's great if we move like a first mover on this, and we're going to start to expand on this sort of like FX trade idea. And I just think it's even more relevant today with people looking alternatives to USD with everything that's happening, and it's like a great way you can stay on chain. You can sort of get less exposure from US dollars if you want to. That type of thing. So I'm very keen to keep exploring it, and I think you'll see some really cool developments come out shortly on that. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. I think once it happens for us, I wouldn't be surprised if you see like similar growth that we saw with the issuance of USDC. And if that happens, then I think we'll really stand out because like wow, we launched this asset on Sonic, and now its issuance has doubled or tripled, which wouldn't surprise me.
Andre has always been kind of like big into Forex, right? So isn't that always kind of been like a focus, is kind of growing this foreign exchange kind of market? So that's a little bit of alpha maybe for you guys, something to keep in mind. Keep your eye on Euro issuance on Sonic. And hell, dude, what if we get even more exotic stables? Dude, does anyone done a yuan see? A yuan stable? We should look into that. Might be a little hard to implement. But no, I mean, it's looking good. I think we have a question here from Ari. I don't know if you can answer. If you can't, just say so.
No,
got any flying tulip alpha?
Any flying tulip alpha? That's all in Andre's head, and I can't say anything on the flying tulip. I mean, that's Andre's development. I think would have to wait to hear from him. There's no point in me trying to translate what he's building because I'm not that big brain. So we'll just have to let him come out and tell us all as he's building it. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really provide too much info there.
Yeah, I think he's playing it very tactfully. He had this podcast come out recently. I don't think he talks about it in here at all. But if you want some Andre stuff, this is the place to go. Sam, you look confused.
That's a great no, I was just that was a great podcast. Yeah.
So I'd recommend you check this out if you want to get some Andre brain picking here going on.
But I think that's a great podcast. So
I'll drop the link in the description of our video, and I'll drop it in the chat here for now. But be sure to check that out too. And yeah, moving on though, like in terms of like the growth of kind of like these useful assets on the network, we've got I don't know if I talked about this last week or earlier this week, but Beefy's staked S is really big. People excited about this. And I think Johan was even mentioning this, is that their staked S is a whitelisted asset in the points program as well. So you're an 8x activity point. So if you're a points farmer, dude, I mean, what more could you want, dude? Maintain that exposure to S, get those points. Very, very easy. We got some other stuff here too. Beats Validator Live now on Sonic. They're getting more revenue.
Beats is also a DEX.
I did. Beats could do anything, dude. I've been on Beats since the jump, dude.
Yeah. No, they're a great team. I mean, so the Beefy guys. They finally got their own validator, which is really cool. And so
yeah,
they're killing it on the STS side as well. Their growth is insane. Actually, I haven't checked recently how much they've got, but I think it was over 100 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 100 million? Jesus.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
that's more than our TVL is on Sonic. I mean, on Phantom. So it shows that like everyone has gone full Sonic and what sort of is achievable on Sonic. But yeah, I'm glad they're sort of getting a lot of notice right now.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this could be my bias, but I really am thinking that Sonic is the best positioned right now in this uncertainty. Not as much baggage as a lot of other networks. I feel like the rebrand came at. It may not have felt it at the time, but I feel like it came almost at the perfect time, considering how things have played out. So
it went from like the worst rebrand to the best rebrand, probably back to the worst again. It's sort of I think Park sort of determined that, but I think overall, I think the rebrand was done effectively. I think looking back, there's always things you learn, and you kind of go, I wish we did this one thing this way, and it could have made things easier. But overall, now we're just looking forward. and it's really good. I agree with you. The position we have right now is really exciting because I think finally we can sort of see growth that we were never able to achieve on Sonic. I mean, on Phantom. So that's super exciting. If you think about it, if you could almost port every transaction that's happening on every other L1 and L2, and our network can handle it. I mean,
Wow.
it's sort of insane the amount of call it block space that we have. And if we can ever get close to those numbers, that would just be, I think, the next major step for our industry, and that's what we're targeting. So it's super exciting to be going for something that's so huge. And I think this year will show a lot.
Yeah. Now, Arya asks again, what are some of your favorite apps? I don't know if you can pick favorites like that, Sam. It might be bad for.
No, it's fine. I mean, I can say, Beats is definitely a favorite, and they're here on the screen. I think they're a great application. Although that big gong noise when you trade,
I kind of like it.
The Sonic Assistant, I think when he was, I think he was doing a trade on Beats or something. I could hear it on the other side of the call, like dong. So that's fun. I mean, honestly, every single application in the top 20, I've obviously not Vita through Rings, but most of these guys I've used. Yeah, no, I love them all. Equalizer, I love those guys. Blake, I think he's a great builder as well. Yeah, no, I mean, amazing applications. I'm always a bit of an Estifer player, so I still play Estifer. I think they did a great migration as well.
What class are you in S4? What's your class?
I don't want to talk, but I basically fish. I just get fish.
Okay.
And my level of fishing is my goal. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You play?
Nice.
You actually? I haven't joined a clan yet. That's something I got to do.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know where Disco Chuck might have. He was my guild leader. I might have to start a new clan. I don't know. I kind of went hands off in S4 for a while, but maybe we can reorganize, Sam. We could have the fishing guild, dude. We could dominate the fishing market.
Yeah, we can.
We could corner it. Everyone's out here trying to fight and stuff. We could just dominate the fish, dude, and everyone needs it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, yeah, those are some good ones there. Shout out to S4.
Nice.
I had something else here. What was I going to ask? It was oh yeah, Sam, you ever play like Counter-Strike or Halo or whatever?
Yeah. 100%.
Doesn't this video look quite strange? Not just because it's Alex Jones, but doesn't he look like he's like bouncing across the map, dude? You know, you would do that in Counter-Strike. You would like to get.
Oh yeah, but that's AI. That's AI, right? Sure.
No, dude, that's real.
Yeah,
he's like
just
on
bouncing.
Metro.
It's hilarious.
That's weird, right? And then
did you see the video of him? I think he's doing like he was on a bar doing like I think knee raises. And he's just like clowning out.
No, I haven't seen that one. He's a crazy guy, dude. Whatever you think about him, I gotta say he's a top entertainer for sure. Every time I see him, he's doing something that makes me laugh.
He's protecting you from the frogs, so stay away.
Frogs. And then I wanted to ask you about this too. Dracula Protocol. As you know, my co-host Dracula's been missing for like a week now.
Oh yeah.
And then I see this Dracula Protocol just materialize, and I'm wondering, what is this guy up to, dude? Is this him? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
This doesn't seem like Dracula's vibe.
This looks pretty nice.
I'm putting a bounty out there for Dracula, dude. If anyone can give me any information on where Dracula is, let me know. And I hope he's not involved in this bloodback token, but it does seem like his style. Are you familiar with this project? I just saw this. I don't know anything about it.
No, this is new to me, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. All right, cool. Hey, and before we go, let me land on this more serious note here, actually, Sam, because I have you here. It's a privileged opportunity to be talking to you, Sam.
Likewise.
BD on Sonic. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. What do you think right now is the next big challenge for the network? What is like the next big goal in your mind for expanding Sonic? Consumer app? How far away is that? I don't know. I got a lot of questions, I guess.
Well, I mean, no, it's a great question. I mean, we never build out the applications ourselves because we've learned from the Phantom days when the L1 itself tries to dip its toes into, say, like building out a DEX or building out like an NFT marketplace. it discourages those who are truly passionate about it and probably have an advantage of building out that application to do so. So we are very strict on like we do not try to deploy an application as an L1. That's just like something that we think is like kind of productive for our growth as a whole. Like our growth comes from the success of our application. So that is always our North Star, is seeing seeing shadows sort of like climb the ranks of like the most fees generated. That is like something that I love seeing whenever they're in the leaderboard there, because that's showing that what we're doing is providing that environment for these applications to grow. And that's always like the biggest thing for us, is like developers come first. Like our goal is to serve the developers to make sure that they can succeed. But for like more BD focus that we're working on, I think one aspect that we're still missing is a good real world asset development. I believe we've seen a lot of success around the build fund. That's been interesting to watch. We're talking with funds across the world, a lot of US funds, about like how they're strategizing around real world assets, and we're sort of collaborating with I'd say some pretty well-known names on like building out the real world asset infrastructure, making sure that we can be a part of it. Some sort of roadblocks there are there's like sort of like some real world asset issuers who charge an insane amount of money to sort of be on your network, and that's something that we don't want to get caught in the trap of, is sort of just like being paying into this sort of these things that aren't actually growing adoption. So then when we look at this, like what do we really want? We want to see like a permissionless side of real world assets on Sonic, and I think that's one cool vertical that we're exploring. The other that I actually probably should have mentioned this first is the success of this airdrop. The community put a lot of faith in us providing that airdrop allocation. And we need to make sure that the ROI on that drop is bigger than how much was allocated for the airdrop. Otherwise, it's just pointless. So, making sure that everything's working for the airdrop, making sure that people are able to integrate their gems, their points, being able to see it clearly, making sure that's for long-term growth. We've seen time and time again these sort of charts. I think the assistant did a cool chart on a post on this. Basically, you see a network that's done an airdrop. You see this growth in TVL and users and transactions, and then the date that airdrop ends, it's like an elevator down, and it's just dead. And that's sort of that is one thing that we cannot afford to happen. So we need to make sure that everything that we do around this airdrop is for a long-term growth. Maybe you might see like maybe a pullback slightly, but we just can't afford to have that sort of elevated drop, which is just so discouraging for applications and everyone on the network. So we want to show that. Yeah, we want our network to be here for 10 years plus minimum. I mean, we want to be here and helping applications nonstop. And if we have sort of like and call it an unsuccessful airdrop, that's just what we don't want. So a lot of focus is going on the airdrop and making that successful. And Johan's been again an amazing lead on that. Other side of things would be the VM. We just need to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for people to access that. Like, man, there's no point having this great product if no one can, it's a pain in the ass to get a hold of. If you had to download an app on the on the App Store, and you had to like sign up all your details every single time, and then you have to wait for like someone at the Apple Store to like approve your app, like you're the downloading of that application. It's just a very bumpy ride to get there, and we want to make it as smooth as possible. We're working actually with Seg right now. He's our DevRel lead, and he's doing hopefully soon will be like a 1 minute or 60-second sign up to VM, and that is what we like the target. And so those are like three things that we're focusing on. Obviously, VN is going to be a massive win for us, in my opinion. It's going to be really fun to see a lot of the developer community, a lot of the BD community. I will even see some people from the team that I haven't seen for a long time. And so that's going to be fun. Are you going to Vienna?
I was going to ask you if I'm going to see you in Vienna. I'll see you in Vienna, Sam.
I'll see you in Vienna. Yeah, maybe we can do like we can get you up on stage and we can have a conversation there as well.
It's been a while since I've been on stage. I'd love that.
Yeah, let's go. You can bring the suit and tie. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, I'll bring a custom Viennese fit, dude. Speaking of, we have Louisa's been telling me we got 2 tickets to give away to the actual summit itself, and I've got a little bit of spend in our marketing budget here, so I'm thinking I'd love to help. I know Vienna's far away for a lot of people, right? So I'd love to help someone get out to Vienna. I'll sponsor your trip is essentially what I'm getting at, as long as it's kind of reasonable. We got to price it out. I don't know if you're flying from, I don't know, where's the furthest place from Vienna? If you're flying from Sentinel Island, I don't know if I can cover that. But if you're coming from the States or Europe or something, I'll try and cover it and even hook you up with a hotel room. So I'm going to sponsor a trip to Vienna for somebody, maybe 2 people. Let's see. So next week, I'll do a drawing from all the people that have responded. Here are my criteria, okay? Here's how you can win a trip to Vienna, courtesy of GM Sonic for the Sonic Summit. Reply to this video, the stream, wherever it's at, whether it's on X or YouTube you're watching. Tag your favorite crypto content creator. It doesn't have to be me. You don't have to flatter me. And your favorite crypto protocol. It doesn't even need to be on Sonic. Just let me know what are your 2 favorite content creators and products or projects, if you will. Now, with that out of the way, we're kind of at the end here, Sam. So I'm always curious about my guests' tastes, and I want to know this about you, Sam. Would you eat this pizza? This is Oreo popcorn chicken and calamari.
Nice. It's just missing pineapple, and then it's perfect.
Okay, all right. I think you're having a go at me here, but
it looks what, you made that?
No, dude. This is Taiwanese Pizza Hut. This is a menu item pizza.
That's a real pizza. That's a real pizza.
That's a real pizza. That is not AI, dude. That's what people.
That's what I mean. Asking at the end of every sentence in my head. Wait, is this pitch AI now? Because
yeah, I mean, you kind of got to now.
Nice. I don't think they have that in Vienna. So
yeah, unfortunately, I'm curious to see what they have in Vienna. I'm sure they have a mayonnaise pizza of some sort or something strange.
Okay. Wait, Vienna's famous for its mayonnaise?
I don't think so. Let me see. Let me talk about Viennese pizza.
Wait, why was mayonnaise?
Well, on TikTok, I see these. My TikTok algorithm is really focused on grossing me out.
Okay, nice.
So I see a lot of disgusting street food, a lot of disgusting pizzas, and one of the ones I saw, it seemed like it was from Central Europe, which I believe Austria is considered Central Europe, and it was this pizza that had olives, mayonnaise, some kind of cream cheese on it, and like chopped Vienna sausages, like little sausages.
Nice.
Looked foul, dude. It looked foul.
Do you like this? Yeah, I've seen this. They're like the tin sausages, right?
Yeah, the little tin sausages. Oh, this is what we got to look forward to in Vienna. Actually, here, let me open up just the image and pop it up on the screen here. This is what we got to look forward to. A fairly normal looking pie. So you know what? If you're scared of the cuisine in Vienna, you don't have to be, dude. It's gonna be perfectly fine.
That looks reasonable.
Yeah, it looks perfectly fine.
I'll eat that.
All right. Yeah, you'll take that one. You'll pass the Oreos. All right.
And wait, can I ask you a question? So what applications are you using right now? I'm just curious.
So I use Shadow pretty much every single day. I'm trying to master V3, or I'm trying to master concentrated liquidity primarily. So I'm growing a Shadow position quite well here. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's a very fun.
They have a great kind of UX around the LP management, right? I've seen that.
Yeah,
I think that's a great design.
Yeah, no, it's very clear, and it's helped a lot. It's one of the more simple ones to understand from concentrated liquidities protocols I played with before. So I'm enjoying it. I'm having mixed success in the markets. It's mostly due to the markets and my own skills here, but I'm developing brand new strategies every day. And what else do I use? I use D-Bridge quite a lot when I'm bridging back and forth. And then, I use S4, Paint Swap a little bit when I'm looking at NFTs.
Nice.
But I kind of dabble all around. I try to play with as many protocols as I can, but those are the ones I use Shadow like every day. Like I said.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I've got myself a derp, which I got from Paint Swap. They're a fun collection. I think was Shadow the first project to airdrop to the derps? I think they were like, that's what really set them off, right? Like Shadow did an airdrop to the derps.
They did.
I think everyone now expects sort of like airdrops around the derps, and sort of like this self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, oh, I'll get a derp, so I get more airdrops. I think there's been a few more, but I haven't tracked them as much as I should have. but definitely the shadow, because I remember I got an airdrop from the shadow team. I was like, oh wow, that's from my dope. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think almost every new protocol I hear about gets some sort of little airdrop to the derp, so I could at least play around with it, like petroleum.
Oh
Or
yeah. I've actually
so.
got some land. I haven't built out my I haven't had the time to sort of build it out, but I did get a plot of land.
Oh, you gotta start drilling, buddy.
Yeah, drill baby drill.
For that black gold, you know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
no, I mean, I think it's the funeral mafia. I don't know what funeral's doing in these DMs to get these airdrops, but whatever he's doing, it's working.
And I actually the petroleum team have made a decent amount on FIEM. I just looked it up. They've earned 29,000 S so far.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
You want to pull that up?
Yeah, oh yeah, I had it. I switched the tab. I didn't pull it up.
Pull it up, Jamie. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was yeah, there they are. So that's a decent amount.
Mhm. Another project, I mean, I feel like it's kind of slept on here is Silver Swap down here, because Silver Swap has generated a lot through FIEM as well.
Yeah.
And I think they have pretty good order routing as well. So
I've used I think they had a perp platform, like a white label perp platform that I've used. And that was quite fun. I think you can go like, I think it was called like cat mode, like degenerate trading, which I thought was a really cool idea on the website. But yeah, I definitely think that they're a cool team. We actually met them, I think 2 years ago now. Their team out at an event in Texas. But yeah, no, the petroleum guys. It's interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with the S that they get, but hopefully they can leverage it and maybe make an oil reserve or something. I don't know.
Strategic oil reserve. Yeah, that'd be smart.
Actually, I think they did say something recently what they're going to do with it. I'm always encouraging. One thing about FIEM is because it's call it like a new method of revenue for applications. A lot of the time, like I'll ping someone and be like, hey, you've got like over $10,000-$20,000 worth of S to claim on FIEM. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I think, they go and check it out. They go, wow, this is like really working. And so that's always encouraging. But I do believe it'll take time for people to understand that they should be claiming this regularly and taking advantage of it. Like you can sort of see there. Let's have a look. Like SwapX right now have 27,000 S that they could claim right now. And for me, it's sort of like a no-brainer to sort of like claim that at least. Maybe put that in LSTs, start getting some more yield, compound it, that kind of thing. There's been some ideas floating around of people building on top of VM, so maybe having like automated strategies, as well as even possibly like lending against future potential earnings on VM. So whenever there's revenue, there's always these really cool things you can build around it, and I'm pretty sure Johan's on it. So yeah, sorry, I'm just back into VM a little bit, but that's interesting on the petroleum guys earning a decent amount. See, it does seem to be leaning towards GameFi to give them a bit more advantage. You can even see there, like on the transaction side for petroleum, you've got 425,000 transactions and like 29,000 S, whereas on like Metro, you've got 3 million transactions and only like 31,000 S. So it really, one other thing I'll just clear up, that's a great example, is a lot of the time an application will come to us and they'll say, hey, look, I did more transactions than this other guy, but he can claim more. And just like reiterate, it's not based on the amount of transactions that you do, it's based on the amount of gas that's consumed on the network that is from the contracts you've deployed. So if you deploy a contract with an insane amount of gas that's needed, it doesn't really matter the amount of transactions, just like that gas usage which you make the money off. And then there's also things like dynamic pricing, which we'll look at doing soon, where you can sort of adjust the amount of gas that your contracts will use, and then therefore have an effect on this as well, which is really cool. So maybe if you're an application and you have less transactions and you think your users would be okay paying a little bit more on gas, and then you can sort of make a little bit more margin there. I think that should be in the app's decision to do so. And then vice versa, if you have an application that's really relying heavily on high throughput network capabilities, putting those transactions down as far as you can go might make more sense to you as well. So it's all about what is best for developers and making sure that this is like a developer first chain, not a validator first chain. Validators are very important, but at the end of the day, people don't go to a network just to check out the validator set. They go to a network because of like these cool applications that we can see. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, That's awesome. That it favors GameFi is kind of interesting because I think that is, I mean, if we get some really killer GameFi applications, talk about a cool application people want to use, right? Look, look, I'm getting a little crazy here. Sam, I'm getting a little crazy, but
Let's
imagine
go.
we had Roblox on Sonic, dude. Imagine the PM, dude. It'd be insane, bro.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah. No, that's a
I'm
great point.
yeah, those like really consumer facing applications, games being probably the first one, right? I mean, it kind of goes back even to the beginning of computing in general, right?
Yeah.
Games come out, that's when the population gets a little interested when they can play Pong or whatever. You know, they get all excited. But no, I think it's awesome, dude. That's interesting. I didn't really even think about that. That the amount of gas you're using is actually directly it. It's not just this strict amount of transactions you're getting. But yeah, awesome. Sam, any final words for the audience? We got to start wrapping this up. You're hitting the hour mark.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. No, that's thanks for having me on. I'll try to join more often.
I'd love to have you.
Very, very excited to sort of keep talking about the progress that we have. It's fun. I was just talking with one of the ICO investors from years ago, and he's trying to convert his FTM to Sonic, and we're just running through that for him. He was just like super impressed. He's like, wow, this is just like an incredible amount of growth. He's like a long-term holder, and I'm sure he'll keep holding on to the future. Just because he's like, wow, this is like a crazy amount of growth that you guys have done in like a relatively short time. And that's cool feedback to hear. But we'll keep updating you guys. I'm going to try to write more on X. I think the assistant's writing heaps on X, which is amazing, but I think it's really important. And you could, whether you love Trump or you hate Trump, one thing that he's leveraged really well is using social media to sort of let people know what's happening on the administration side. And I do believe that's the more transparent we can be with what we're working on, I think it's better for us. I think it's better on the community. I think it's better for feedback. So, posting more on X is super important for that. And, expect to see more posts from the whole team, which we're doing. But yeah, if anyone has any ideas they want to chat about with me, if they want to chat about the current ecosystem or any ideas they have, if they have a project and we're not talking with you, always feel free to reach out. We try to talk with every single team that's deployed on Sonic. It's sometimes hard because there's so many teams deploying, and we should start scaling out a lot more of our inbound team. But for now, if anyone has any questions or they want to connect with the labs team, you can ping me on X, or you can ping me. I'm a little bit faster on Telegram. It's just at SAMHARC on Telegram, and yeah, I'm always open to chat and support anyone who's building or just interested in the network.
Awesome. Open door policy for Sam. Hit him up if you got an idea, guys.
Yeah.
And we gotta have you on Sonic Shark Tank, dude. We're thinking about spinning off a show called Sonic Shark Tank.
Nice, finally coming to fruition. I remember there were talks about doing that on Phantom, but it never came around. I think was Austin wanted to lead something like that. I mean, I'm down to do it. I think that'd be super fun.
Do you think he'd be? What kind of personality do you think you would approach it with? Do you think he'd be kind of more like Mr. Wonderful, or what's that other guy, Mark Cuban?
Mark Cuban. I couldn't know it. Maybe hopefully a new type, because they've all got their personalities. But I would just like all the biggest marker for me is like who the team is. Just like, is the team like. I finally did meet up with like 24 from Shadow, and I have to say, like, he's like a super motivated builder, and that was really cool to see. And when we met him in person, he was like really just like passionate about what he's building, and that was really cool to see. So seeing that passion, I think, is just super important, because a lot of the time you sort of have builders that come, and then as soon as like something gets in their way, they sort of just like fade out and soft rug. We've all seen it, and it's like. It's always discouraging to see, but when you find a really cool team, like people who are part of the team who are really passionate about what they're building, they just don't stop, and that's what I would be looking for on the show. So, if it ever comes around, I mean, I think we should get like me, maybe the assistant, Johan on there, maybe like a special guest from the labs team each week. If you guys do end up doing it, I'm sure we can maybe get Andre in there as well.
I got some ideas, dude. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Having someone from the labs team on. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. We just got to get a big pool of entrants, you know what I mean? And figure out how we want to.
Honestly, that wouldn't be the hard side. The hard side would be setting up. Like there is just so much inbounds. I'm sure like something like this would be really well. There's actually something similar that is being set up by like another incubator right now. And they want us to support it, and we will support it. It's a similar concept. You know, they've gone through like hackathons, and then they'll go through like a funding round, and then the next stage of launch is where we can sort of step in more. But like some like sort of show around it could be really fun. Especially if you'd host it here on GM Sonic.
Oh, we might do a separate show. If we did it as a segment on GM Sonic, that might make the show a little too tight, but that could be it's an interesting idea, depending on how we want to do it. We want to do it real tight. We'll talk about this later.
Okay,
but we want to do
maybe
like
if you have the audience, they can sort of chime in whether they would want to see it like maybe the end of each session talking. Maybe you have the show, and then after you just chat with some of the guests after, and that sort of lines up.
Yeah, let us know. Comment on the video. Let us know how you'd like to see it. A separate show, part of the show, or what. But yeah, and also Vienna. It could change your life. Sam just told you it could change your life. You meet Sam, dude. You impress him. Got some high energy. You could be the next 24, baby. So be sure to reply with your favorite crypto content creator and your favorite protocol, and we can make it happen.
Amazing.
Now,
are you gonna do some live events in Vienna as well? Maybe like live interviews. We could do a live show. It's always nice watching a podcast when they're in the same room. I don't know what it is about it, but I've always noticed, whether whatever podcast I'm watching
is way better.
In person, so much. I don't know. Maybe the conversation just comes across a bit. I'm actually not sure why. I've just always felt that it feels much easier to listen to when they're both in the same room.
Well, I think there's a couple things to it. One, it's the composition of the shot can always be way better because it's like instead of it being two separate blocks, we're looking at one screen and we can see like two people. Then there's the body language. We usually get more of their body. There's a lot to it. Also, conversation is just a lot easier when you're in person because you can pick up on body language a lot more, Like, is Sam really vibing with what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to tell when we're on the computer.
You want the body shot.
You want the body shot, dude. I want to see a human being, dude. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I would love to do something like that. I've got a couple ideas for content for the summit. I want to do some updates while it's going on, that kind of thing, short clips, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm excited for it. I'm real excited for it. Vienna is a cool city from what I've heard, never been. Yeah. I'm hoping to see you all there.
Amazing. Well, thanks, Corval, for having me.
No, thanks for coming on, Sam. It's been great. It was so good. We'll have you on again soon. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you Tuesday for a typical program. Dracula, hopefully we'll be back by then so you can get some nice analysis on your charts, bros. All right. Now, I'll talk to you guys then later. Adios. I'm getting nervous.
GM Sonic is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.